Hello and welcome to the Sixcess Core Kickstarter from Harsh Realities. This is the central universal dice system that provides the backbone for our future releases. Sixcess Core has been in serious development and playtesting for about the last 2 years. We've taken it to several conventions, including running 46 events at Gen Con 2012 with various settings. The response has been phenomenal, far better than our expectations. As you can see from the quotes in the Kickstarter, we were praised for an easy-to-learn, flexible, and versatile game system. Sixcess was designed to be as light or as crunchy as preferred by the GM and players. We have drawn inspiration from many of the games we've played over the years, trying to pull together the aspects that we appreciate the most. Sixcess is a D6-based dice pool system that is versatile and flexible enough to handle any genre or genre clash. There is no setting associated with the Sixcess Core product. Settings will be released in the near future, and our first few offerings are detailed at the end of this presentation. Sixcess is easy to learn. Dice rolls are based on an attribute plus skill concept that is simple and versatile in play. It can be wound up tight or played loose depending on group preferences. A downloadable quick start is available on our webpage to give you a flavor for the Sixcess game system. Harsh Realities has already embarked upon 4 defined settings and has many waiting in the wings. If our Kickstarter is successful, 2 of these settings, Blackout, written by Joseph Wolfe, and No Man's Land, written by Ben Rogers and Cynthia Celeste Miller, will be made available free of charge to most of the backers of the project. Sixcess was also conceived on a keep-it-simple principle for math. A mark is always a 6, and beating a target number lower than a 6 is a tick. 5 ticks equals 1 mark. Everything else is simple addition and subtraction or comparison. Sixcess is also capable of handling the most traditional role-playing experiences. Detailed weapons, equipment, and vehicles spanning multiple genres are included. Extrapolating anything more detailed is quite simple, allowing GMs to create their own equipment easily. An oft-cited issue with dice pool systems is the accumulation of massive numbers of dice at more advanced levels. Sixcess uses 2 methods to mitigate this issue: sliding the difficulty and multiple actions. Both of these allow the more skilled player to sacrifice dice to gain lowered target numbers or additional actions. Sixcess was built on the foundation of old-school role-playing, with heroes facing larger-than-life challenges, enough crunch to require tossing the bones, and yet a rule set that is simple enough not to interfere with action or role-playing sequences. Whether fighting the demonic forces that threaten to overwhelm the world, or joining their ranks, Sixcess presents a defined moral compass of good versus evil, without dictating which side of that line you must play, or whether you even agree with that line. The focus of Sixcess Core is to provide solid role-playing experience, not to force anyone down a particular path. The developers at Harsh Realities like to say that they are best suited at handling wonky worlds, unusual blends of settings and genres. This is borne out in the future settings to be released. But it all boils down to the characters that you can play. Sixcess Core is not based on levels or classes, though individual game worlds can include these elements if they are desired. If you played a generic Sixcess Core game, then a dwarf could be raised by elves. Your particular game world may not allow for that. Either choice is completely feasible with Sixcess Core. Sixcess Core also adapts easily to miniature use. Sixcess Core also provides something called dissonance to the player. Abbreviated to DIS and activated by the tossing of a disc, it allows the player to interrupt the story and make a minor change to it. This provides the player an opportunity to interject an element of their own storytelling into the game. With all the content we have already produced, the system will be supported and not abandoned. There are currently 4 game worlds nearly completed. There are at least 6 more waiting, as well as nearly a dozen mini-settings. What about the powers available? Using the same simple principles of Sixcess Core, each power uses the same overall system. The nuances come into play when you define the details of the power. Any unusual power can be modeled, including magic, psionics, miracles, aspected magery, physical manifestations, or superpowers. Players can even have multiple types of powers. Our first setting slated for release is Elfwood. Elfwood is a gritty fantasy world where the forest elf culture has dominated the known world. They have clashed with the other cultures of Dwarg, Human, Mrock, Tarim, Dre, and Kaeg. Hanging on the precipice of war, divided from within and preyed upon by their myriad of enemies, with the prophecy that the world is about to erupt into a spiritual war, Elfwood is not your typical fantasy. Our second setting is a conversion of a world that was first revealed in 2003, Promised Sands. Dark desert fantasy that plays like a post-apocalyptic world, because it is. The world is rich and involved with cultures and races never seen anywhere else. There are expansions to this setting that were created and never released that may yet see the light of day. Our third setting is our steampunk world, Extraordinary Voyages. Where most steampunk marries itself to fantasy, we took a different approach. We married it to a pulpy sci-fi that includes Tesla power, pyramid power, mad scientists, and our penchant for describing rich, detailed cultures, offering wide-open vistas for role-playing. Whether you churn the aether in a giant flying battleship, or explore the dark temples overrun by jungles or deserts, you will certainly enjoy your extraordinary voyage. Our final setting for 2013 is Mytharia. Mytharia is a world ripe with adventure, intrigue, danger, and riches. Mytharia was devastated by a cataclysm that shattered the world and opened the Eye of Answa, giving way to the Crossbloods. Previous power bases amongst the higher powers were fragmented, kicking off the faction wars that have raged for thousands of years. Sail the skies with the mistraders and pirates, struggle to restore the ways of the old, or join the faction wars. You can do it all in Mytharia. And now we want to ask your sponsorship. We ask that you help us make these worlds available. Your backing supports the myriad of freelancers, artists, writers, cartographers, editors, and musicians who have helped us make this project possible. The core developers, Ben, Ren, and Scott, owe our most gracious thanks to those who have assisted us. We ask your buy-in so that we can commission additional material from these wonderful freelancers. We would appreciate it if you would make your pledge and support our project. Thank you.